Hey, what's up guys? A brand new video that's documenting my knife making journey that I'm traveling on here. I've been doing it a while. If this is your first video, make sure you go check out the last one. But the next step is a better forge. Let me show you before we get into this little beauty what I've been using up till now. So here it is, one that started it all, my original coal forge. I actually built, I think, 2 other iterations of this before I got to this beautifully refined version, but this is the best one I made. I didn't spend a lot of time at it. With coal, really, you need forced air. You need forced air to a fire, and that will drive a crazy amount of heat in the coal. So what I did was take this galvanized drum here. I drilled a hole, a big hole in the bottom of it, probably about a 1/2 inch hole, and then a bunch of pinholes around that, and then I welded this 2-inch exhaust pipe to the bottom. It's an elbow, which I tied in to this like foil ductwork, which is tied to this big electric blower. You can see it plugs in here. And I set it up on 2 cinder blocks, and I build a wood fire before I plug it in, get a bunch of heat in there. I pile on the coal, turn on the air, which blows air up through the pile of coal, and you get quite a bit of heat there when it's going, but it takes so long. There's so much setup each time, and coal is just not feasible. You can't get it here in the province that I know of. I've made some calls, I've looked around to get it shipped in, costs a fortune. So I've decided propane is the way to go. Okay, so you see we've made a pretty humble start there, although it's done great and I've had great success with my heat treats so far. Coal is one of those things, I just find it's a lot of work. Coal's a lot of work. You need a lot of maintenance, a lot of kindling that fire and managing your air control, and it's just a bit of a headache. You got to do it outside always. This is not a huge step up, but this is a much more controllable environment and a much better use of my time. There's no running the forge for a 1/2 hour before I build up that massive amount of heat. This should run much better. So what we have here, this is a forge by, I believe Little Devil is the name of the company, and they do, if you go on eBay and check it out, they do so many different styles of forges. I went with one of the cheaper options. I can't remember which model this is. It cost me around $300 Canadian. Not a huge amount invested, but I feel like I got a lot for my money. I was looking at building something, because I build a lot of stuff. I was looking at building something almost like this, take an old air compressor tank, cut it out, weld in a small door, insulate it, and building the burners, because you can build, you can find tons of plans online for burners just like this to build your own. But with how much it would cost just to get all the fittings and everything for this burner, and the amount of time and effort hunting around for scrap parts and everything, and then the time in welding it up and fitting it, for $300 Canadian, this just seemed like the obvious option. Just everything come to you in one shot, your regulator, all your fittings, everything's there to get you started with your own little forge. I haven't tried it yet, haven't even put it together yet, but it seemed like the obvious option for me. So right now, we're going to put it together. Okay, so here's our little forge body. It's 10 inches long this way, and I believe it's roughly a 6-inch diameter here, and it's just a thin steel shell, all steel, these nice little steel legs to keep it up, to keep the heat off whatever surface you're in, and then it's lined with about 1.5 inch thick glass insulation. So it's really itchy, but it'll hold up well. It also came with this small piece of insulation to go around your burner. Here's your burner, all fitted with your shut-off valve and all your proper fittings here, and your oxygen control right up here on the back. So it's a really nicely built, similar to a lot of the designs you'll find online if you go searching, but I didn't have to go hunting down parts, so this was really nice. This is going to sit right in here, and then you center it up and you hold it in place with these bolts that come through here. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten in these bolts here at the top. And then it's a 13 mil head here, and you don't need obviously very much tension on these, just enough to pinch it in place so it's not sliding up or down. regulator on here. Now, since we have a cutoff switch up here on the burner itself and a regulator back here, I'm going to turn on my propane tank, which lets gas to the regulator. Check those fittings with some, I got some spray on here, something real foamy, because if there's air leaking or propane leaking, that it'll bubble. And then I'll turn on the regulator here and let air charge through the line up to the burner, check those fittings, and if everything proves well, we can try it. So let's let some air. Okay, so air is to our regulator. And nothing. Check all around my regulator. Nothing. Let's charge. Lovely. Everything is super airtight.